So I'm writing a book. I mean, I'm like one draft in, so I kind of already wrote the book technically, but I'm still writing a book. All right, so it's January 17th, and I think I just finished my novel. Or my first draft of my novel. It has a lot of work that needs to be done. I don't even know how I feel. I started around a month ago. So I wrote an entire novel in 1 month. This is my first novel ever. And it's 53,766 words. But yeah, I just wanted to record this to like commemorate the fact that I wrote a whole book. Wow, I did it. I really did just write a book. Kind of insane. All right. Cool. So between like elementary school and middle school, I used to write all the time. I used to have notebooks full of short stories, and there's even like a Wattpad somewhere. Everything's privated now, but there's a Wattpad somewhere with like multiple books. Like more probably novellas than actual like novels, but like I wrote a lot. But somewhere around high school, I kind of just like fell off on creative writing. Academic writing kind of took over, and even when I went to film school, I just like never picked it up again. I think a lot of it came from like imposter syndrome, which I feel like anyone in college has imposter syndrome at one point. But like writing felt really big to me. It felt like something that other people were just like naturally good at, and like idea generation which just was not my like strong suit. So I felt more comfortable going into like logistics, like producing and like scheduling stuff and making creative things happen rather than like creating creative things. I feel like I've talked about this in like a video or two. But near the end of 2024, something kind of changed. In October of 2022, I wrote a single paragraph, just a small idea. For the past 2 years, it just kind of like sat in my notes, just like ruminating and like waiting. And then I stumbled upon it in like end of November. And when I was back home in Michigan for Christmas, there's not a whole lot to do where I'm from just because I lived in the middle of nowhere. So I did a lot of reading and I started a novel. And was like able to crank out like almost like 5,000 words a day. Like when I say there was nothing to do, I mean there was like nothing to do and nowhere to go. And now I'm a whole draft in. I started writing it like December 18th and basically finished the first draft on January 18th. So it took me like a whole month to finish one novel. So welcome to Project Laurel. Project Laurel is a Greek mythology retelling. It's based on a somewhat lesser-known story in Ovid's Metamorphosis. It's this queer tale that's just kind of intrigued me, and not just because it's queer, but because the story is extremely brief. The original text gives like a small glimpse into the big event that happens, and it like barely shows the context before or the aftermath of it. So this novel is basically just diving deeper into that original myth to explore maybe what could have happened before and then what could have happened after. I did make some big changes that kind of stray away from the original text, so I like to call it more of a like reimagining than like a retelling. And after all myths are reimagining at the end of the day because they're myths and they were first verbally told from person to person, so we never know if it was how that story was originally told. From what I said, you can probably guess what the actual myth is, but I'm trying to remain vague just because I don't want to give it all away till like the book is actually a thing. So if you grew up reading Percy Jackson, congratulations. You're probably also weirdly obsessed with mythology and you're either queer or you're neurodivergent in some way, likely both. But with that, Project Laurel is an adult novel. It is spicy sometimes, it is kind of romantic. It leans more towards like people who like Circe and Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And of course, she's a massive inspiration. Madeline Miller basically rebooted the like Greek retelling trend that is still going on right now. The way she blends like myth and emotion and the way she kind of like discusses these modern issues is kind of like the vibe I'm going for with this book. So at what stage is Project Laurel at now? So the first draft, it's done. The first draft means like really, really shitty draft. And for me, since I haven't written in so long creatively, it felt like I was having to reteach myself how to write and like reteach myself like basic story structure. But even with that, there are some parts of this first draft I'm kind of proud of. I haven't looked at it in a while though. So now I'm basically gonna like rewrite the whole thing from scratch. I'm gonna like look at the first draft as like a point of reference, but I'm kind of thinking most of it's gonna like just go in the garbage, which that's what first drafts are for. So I have a lot to revise. All right, scene change, we're at my desk now. So this is a bit of a vibe shift. Still trying to figure out how I want to approach vlogging on this channel because everything I have made so far, the 2 videos I've made so far, have been like scripted, but I don't want to script these parts where I'm actually like vlogging about writing basically. So things may change, quality may shift, but that's okay because this is the kind of videos I want to make. I just gotta figure out how I want to make them. So now on to Project Laurel. I actually haven't looked at draft 1 since I finished it on January 18th, and it is now February 5th. So I've taken some weeks off to just kind of like step away and not like think about the book at all, because I was like thinking about like nonstop for basically a month. So I haven't looked at draft 1 at all, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to approach draft 2. Whether I want to just like jump straight into writing it, or if I basically want to re-outline the whole book. But for draft 1, I heavily relied on a outline, and it really helped me. And I know there's a lot I want to add. Like I literally at the end of my chapter outline for the first draft is like a whole page of like right after the end, it says plot to add in draft 2. So there's still a lot I like want to add. So I'm trying to decide how I want to approach it. I think maybe just to get back into writing, I think I may just like rewrite chapter 1. Because chapter 1's one of the chapters that I don't really like want to change it plot-wise, but we will see. All right, so I'm gonna rewrite chapter 1, and then I will come back and talk about what that was like and whether I actually made it any better. So it's been like about an hour, and I think I'm going about this completely the wrong way. I think what I honestly really need to do is like sit down and read through the entire book and take notes while I do it, rather than like just try to rewrite chapter by chapter. I know chapter 1 is probably the chapter I'm not gonna change the most, because as I was working on it for the last hour, I was almost just like fixing more grammar things rather than like actual plot / character stuff. So I definitely think the best idea, especially because I was away from it for like a couple weeks, is to read it. But it's basically dinner time, so I will probably tackle that tomorrow. So see you tomorrow. Alrighty, good morning. Good morning. I'm whispering because my partner's still asleep, but it is now the morning, the next day, and I still need to make my coffee, but we're gonna start the day doing some reading. This is the book I started last night. It is called The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. I'm about 60 pages in. I started pretty late last night, so I'm probably gonna read like a chapter or 2 of this, and then I'm gonna jump on to reading Project Laurel. But first I need to make coffee. Alright, well, coffee made. Tastes like coffee. But anyway, yeah, after I read a couple chapters, but basically last night I exported out Project Laurel in like a book format. I don't know if I have the energy today to read through all of it, because it is 200 pages. But basically I don't know if you can see that, I exported it out in like a way that there's a lot of margins, so I can write on the sides. But I'll probably end up taking notes in a notebook anyway. I just have to remind myself as I'm going through to not like make notes on grammar stuff, unless if it's like massive, but more so like content wise. This is my first time ever like rewriting anything basically besides like academic papers and like scripts when I was in school. But yeah, we're gonna start with the normal book to just kind of get in the mindset, and then we'll move on to Project Laurel. Alright, so it's been like 2 hours since I last recorded, and I actually ended up reading the entire thing, which means it reads pretty fast, which is not a bad thing, but I took a lot less notes, so there were a lot less like stark issues than I was expecting when I was going through it. But there's still a lot I want to add, because it's only 200 pages right now, and it definitely should be longer if it's gonna be like a novel, and there are stuff to add. There's a lot of stuff I can do to expand on like supporting character, and because this is like my first romance kind of book I've ever written, they definitely like fall in love really fast, which I think is a common mistake that like first writers make, is like making the characters fall in love too fast. So I definitely need to like expand that a bit more. But it definitely has that like yearning vibe. And even like some of the scenes I was like kicking my feet like all giddy. I was like, ooh, I kind of forgot this, but it's like, ooh. So that's good that I can have that kind of reaction to my book now, because I know later on I will be so over it. But I definitely have decided I'm going to start by just making basically a draft 2 outline and then writing based off of that, instead of just like kind of writing based off this draft. Anyway, yeah, I'm feeling good about it. Okay, so I definitely made the right choice, because I just finished outlining Act 1, and I'm already feeling so much better about just like the slow burn of the romance. It's not like exactly what you would like call a slow burn. It's just not like they're not falling in love as fast. I planned a couple scenes I think will like help a whole lot, and also just like add more interesting characterization to both of the main characters. I forgot to mention earlier, this is a 2 point of view story, so there's 2 main characters and it kind of switches point of views. I did think about for a while on the second draft trying to write it where it's just 1 main character, but I think it takes away a lot of the interesting aspects of the story. But I am feeling a lot better, and I'm trying to decide whether I just want to like power through and outline the rest of this draft, or go ahead and start writing draft 2, like actually writing it, because now I'm excited to write some new scenes that don't exist. But also like it may be smart to like know where I'm going the entire time, because when I was first writing the draft I had ideas, but it wasn't like outlined past like I think the middle of Act 2. So as I was reading draft 1, it felt like there wasn't like a whole through line. There was one, but it wasn't like as strong as it could have been. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling good about the fact that there are more chapters, because that means the book will be slightly longer. And that's good because I want it slightly longer. And I know that's probably abnormal to want a book to be longer when most people have to cut them down. But when I was writing it the first time, I did not go back and make edits at all or added anything. I was just like straight through the entire book. So it's like more of just like one plot with like a couple smaller subplots, but now there's actually gonna be like better fleshed out subplots and stuff. So very exciting. Yay! So I finished the outline. That definitely did not take as long as I thought it was going to be. I didn't add many new chapters. I more of just kind of like fleshed out stuff I wanted to add into already existing chapters. But it's still a very like loose outline, so I'm definitely going to like have that flexibility as I start writing to like incorporate other things, because there's still some ideas I have going around in my head that I want to incorporate. I just am not entirely sure how to incorporate it yet, so maybe it'll just come naturally as I continue writing this. But I think that's a good place to stop the video, because otherwise I don't know where it would end. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this little like writing journey vlog. Let me know what you guys think of this kind of style of video. I'll probably end up making more writing vlogs in the future, just because I really enjoy watching author tube videos, so why not also make them? Especially now that I'm picking up this book again, I'll be writing a lot more. It'll probably become part of my normal routine once again. I'm excited about it. I was a little scared about approaching it, but honestly just rereading the novel just kind of reinvigorated my excitement for it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to keep seeing whatever I end up doing, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.